What up, Unstoppables? We have a great episode today, but real quick, we want to invite you to make the most important investment of your life. It's not a secret. There's no like smoke and mirrors. I'm not even trying to like pull a fast one on you. I'm going to be pretty straightforward. The best investment you can make in your life is in yourself. And the best way to invest in yourself is by investing in your network, putting time and energy, surrounding yourself with the best. You are the average of those you surround yourself with. In that Restaurant Unstoppable network, I made it easy. Over the past 12 years and 1,200 plus episodes, I've been researching and talking to people and trying to figure out how do you become successful in the restaurant industry. And I've curated a network of tools, services, technologies, and individuals, experts that I would go to tomorrow if I'm opening a restaurant. And I'm bringing you to that network with live events, whether it be a workshop, a mentoring session, a power hour, or access to me twice a month where I just listen and steer you in the right direction, all happening at Restaurant Unstoppable Network. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live. You also get this amazing access to all the recordings, RU Network podcast, which includes bonus ad-free and early release content. It also gives you access to our Unstoppable Bot. It is a custom AI agent that is fed with 1,200 plus transcripts, over 2,400 hours of transcripts plus bonus content, all cross-referenced with our database. This is a powerful AI tool that you also get access to as well. What are you waiting for? Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live and we'll see you there. This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, co-owner of Seven Monks Cafe, as well as Lazy H Retreats and Rezo Hospitality, Rashmi Bhat. My lady, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I am, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm psyched to have you here. And, you know, this is the kind of content that I love to create. When I find somebody organically, you came into the Restaurant Unstoppable Network. I knew out of the gates that you were pretty impressive in what you were pulling off. Anna Tazin, somebody who I have an amazing amount of respect for. I introduced you to her. You guys got close, I'm assuming, or you communicated. She learned a lot from you. And then she came to me and she's like, that Rashmi lady, man, she is impressive. She taught me about all these things she's doing with VAs, and I'm doing it now in my business. And I was like, well, now I want to learn more. So here you are. You're going to kind of share everything you've learned about how to leverage VAs. Today's subject is why every restaurant needs a VA, how to save time, scale smarter, and build a world-class team. I cannot wait to get into that. But before we do, let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us?
So one of my favorite ones, and this is on my phone screensaver, is be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yes, I love me some Gandhi. Is it Gandhi? Is it that?
Yeah, it's Gandhi.
Yeah. Why did you choose that one today?
So I think we're in the hospitality space, and I'm in a bunch of hospitality. You know, we have hotels, we have restaurants, and so I'm in hospitality day in, day out, and it's an amazing business to be in, but things get rough, man. Your cook could not show up. Your guest could be rude to you. And in those moments, how do you show kindness to somebody? And how do you be that person you want to see when maybe you have a bad day, when things don't go your way? And constantly being kind and generous to people, even when like things are not going your way. So I love that quote all the time. And it actually inspired me to start my social media channel and share my story. And I just want to see more women do cool shit, man. I
love that. Be the change you want to see in the world. That echoes often in my head. And, you know, when I hear that, to me, it's like, I want to see more owners in the world. I want to see less restaurants, more owners. And I think that if we can empower independent restaurant owners, give them the knowledge, give them the inspiration, can help them connect with the right people to get there, decentralize, democratize knowledge, we will have more owners and less restaurants, but those restaurants are going to be so much better.
So true. And people have that work-life balance, which is so hard in our business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of just gave a real quick introduction before we dive into today's subject and learn more about how you're leveraging VAs in your business. So, like, tell us more about your businesses.
Yeah, so I started when I was 21. I graduated college, turned down 3 job offers to open my first restaurant, Bonjour Texas, which was a sandwich shop. Grew that for a couple of years. And part of Bonjour Texas is we have a wholesale company. So we sell to other coffee shops, airports, like prepackaged sandwiches and salads. And all along my delivery route, I would listen to your podcast for years.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
On how I could, you know, learn more, be a better restaurateur, do all the things. In 2019, we opened our now Indian restaurant called Seven Monks Cafe. We're located in New Braunfels, which is in between Austin and San Antonio.
Beautiful community.
Oh, it's so fun. I love it
Yeah.
here. And then 2020, we all know what happens with COVID. I can't believe it's been 5 years ago. It feels like yesterday some days. And I was always interested in real estate, couldn't quite figure out how to make real estate happen. And I had an issue at my Bonjour, Texas location where we had a non-compete, no other sandwich shop could go in. Long story short, somebody else ended up going in there. And I was like, I want to own our building. Like, I want to figure out real estate because I never want to be kicked out of a spot ever again if things don't work out.
Smart
And
lady.
so that got me into kind of the real estate. We started acquiring short-term rentals. We opened a short-term rental management company. Short-term rentals are great if you understand hospitality but want to be in real estate. It kind of blends the two worlds together.
Got it.
We grew that company, Lazy H Retreats. We have close to about 80 properties under management now. And then 2 years ago, we opened what we call Rezo Hospitality, which is we focus on boutique hotels, and then implementing the same hospitality technology sectors. And then I'll go back a little bit, backtrack when we start talking about VAs. And if anyone doesn't know, VAs are virtual assistants. I get that question a lot, like, what is a VA?
Right. I think there's multiple acronyms that use that, or multiple, I guess, full out spelled out words use the
Yeah.
acronym VA. Yeah. However you would say that. So wait, all in, you have Seven Monks Cafe, one location or two? How many locations there?
One location.
One location. How many rental properties?
So we manage around 80.
80. And how many boutique hotels are you working with right now?
We manage 8 boutique hotels currently,
So-
hopefully 10 by the time this airs. So
All in, like 90 units approximately.
yeah.
Am I right there?
Yeah, we have over 200 doors under management. Yeah.
Yeah. And this project started how long ago?
Yeah, it's been about 5 years in the making,
Like-
4 or 5 years.
That's impressive.
Oh,
And
thank you.
Now, if you're asking yourself, how the heck is Rashmi doing all this? How much of this output would you attribute to leveraging VAs?
All of it. I don't think I could do it without it.
I don't know how you could either. I mean, it's crazy. So, like, aside from your VAs, how many people are on your team?
So we have a boots on the ground team for mostly all of our companies. So obviously the restaurant has people on site. So does our management company. Like, we have cleaners, handyman, operations manager, guest communication liaisons. But then there's an entire other part that happens halfway across the world and most people never know about. But they've empowered us to hire faster in our restaurants, in our property management company, and then scale our company a lot quicker because we're able to find extremely talented people who do some fantastic work. And that just helps us grow our company and pay our people better here, in my opinion.
So, I mean, I got all these questions. We haven't even got into the actual workshop yet, but I'm just trying to paint my or just wrap my mind around exactly how this exists within your organization. If we're talking like P&Ls, prime costs, would you classify, like, what percentage of your, would you call it OpEx would be your, because you're outsourcing this, right? This isn't your labor, right? So what percentage of your OpEx would you attribute to virtual assistants?
Yeah, so let me backtrack a little bit over here. So instead of going with like an OpEx budget, because these are direct hires within our company, but we don't have the same labor laws we have with somebody that we hire in the United States, right? Whether it's contractor or whether it's, a W-2 hire. So the way I look at it is I have a graphic designer and an executive assistant who work for my companies, but they help out with a lot of my restaurant stuff. So they're handling stuff like payroll, they're handling email management, they're handling online orders if there's any issues. They're handling, if you guys are on DoorDash, kind of anything that can be done on a computer is stuff they're handling. And their cost is most of these guys work, I don't know, $7,000-8,000 a month full time for 40, 50 hours a week.
Wow.
And so the cost is so cheap. I mean, it's negligible in my mind for like what we make
Relative
here.
to what you would spend, right?
Exactly. Because I mean, hiring a graphic designer is a great example. A lot of people love Canva. I love Canva. I did a time study 3-4 years ago, and I found I was spending 6 hours a week on Canva designing graphics. And I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah. Is that
Like,
is that the best use of your time?
Exactly. It's not the best use. I'm not good at it. Like, color, like, it's not my joy. It's not my passion. I'm not a graphic designer. And as a restaurant, I need a ton of graphics. Like, we have an event every single week, event, promotion, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, this is a great thing I can outsource to somebody in the Philippines, in Latin America, in India, wherever you have your VAs at. They can design some killer graphics for you, post it on social media, email it to my customers. They even go so far as they just email it to the manager on site. He prints it out, puts the poster up.
Okay. So real quick, before we move on, we have some, core focuses we're going to dial in on today, and I'm going to share those shortly. But like, how does this manifest like on your P&L, like as a line item? Is it a contracted service? Like,
yep. I just have it under a marketing budget. They just go under my marketing.
Okay. So it's all under marketing. Got it. Anything else we need to know before we start to dive into these core focal points that you're going to share with us today?
Two things. One is have patience. It takes a while to get everybody dialed in. It's just like training a new team member. They're not going to know how to make your best. I have an Indian restaurant. They're not going to know how to make your best curry right off the bat. It's going to take 2-3 months of dialed in training, feedback, the whole 9
There's
yards.
still people that might be coming at you through a computer, but they're people.
Correct. Like having the grace, take time to understand their culture, how they've been operating, and be kind, right? Like we go back to be the change you want to see. Like a lot of these people, they really value the job. They're terrified you're going to fire them. So they might not speak up when they need to. So a lot of it has been team building on a virtual level, but how do we make them feel like they're part of our team, even though they're halfway across the world?
Got it. So today, again, the core focus, why every restaurant needs a VA, how to save time, scale smarter, and build a world-class team. We're going to be focusing on 4 major focal points, why VAs are changing the restaurant world, where to hire. This is part 2, core focus number 2, where to hire the Philippines versus Latin America. Core focus number 3, what VAs can do for your restaurant. And core focus number 4, how to hire, train, and keep them long-term. So let's get into that first core focus, why VAs are changing the restaurant world. Why are they changing the restaurant world?
So a couple of years ago, this was actually 10 years ago now, I read The 4-Hour Workweek, and I was like, I fell in love with the concept. Now, having a restaurant, that's a very hard concept to dial in when you're so heavy on kind of all fronts, right? And so in 2021, I kind of got the idea. I was like, what if we hire a VA that could work for a restaurant? Like, what could they do for me? And I started noticing everything I was doing sitting down on my computer, and I just started jotting it down. That's how I figured out the Canva kind of situation I was in. And I literally just went to a job site called onlinejobs.ph, and I'll talk about that in detail. And I made a job post. I was like, my budget is $100 a month, like nothing crazy. I don't have full-time work. I was very open, but I'm looking for a graphic designer to help me with my restaurant. Can someone help me? I think the way VAs are going to change what we do is you're going to be able to leverage world-class expertise at a fraction of the cost. Your output's going to be a lot stronger, and you could do a lot more things because you have this fractional labor at your service, and then you can groom them into being full-time for you. They can start off as part-time, then come as full-time. And if anyone's in the labor business like we are, labor is the toughest part about any business, especially our restaurant business. And so VAs have helped us kind of scale that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So for $100, this is going back 4 years ago. What was the output for that? What were you getting in return? What did that look like?
Yeah. So what I asked, and this is actually something they came up with, and I was like, listen, it's my first time hiring VAs. I literally watched 3 1-hour-long YouTube videos. I'm sure they're still up. And it literally was how to hire your first VA. Like, how do you do the job post? How do you find them? How do you tell them? And so that VA at that time came to me. She actually ended up working with me for 4 years. She actually left this year. And she was like, hey, your budget's $100. She's like, I think back then it was like $3 or $4 an hour. So you'll get this many hours. Tell me your tasks. Or you can tell me what's prio, which is priority tasks. Like these are the most important ones. These are not so important. And I'll tell you what I can get done. And we just work together on a contract basis. And I'm happy to share like how I paid her and that kind of stuff, because that gets a little more technical. And so she was producing at that time a bunch of social media graphics for me, a bunch of the Canva graphics, and I bought all the tools. So like I paid for Canva and added her as a team member. I paid for any like tech stack that she needed. And then she would like design the work. And then if I had any comments, and the way I had her working is she would work overnight. So I would drop everything throughout the day. And in my restaurant, 3 to 6 is kind of like the dead period. And so I would like get online at 3 p.m., drop all the tasks. We have a project management board called Asana. It's free to use.
Asana, is that the same as I would call it Asana? Is that, are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same, yeah.
Okay, cool. So making sure.
I never know how to pronounce any of these tech companies. No one's ever told me, so
That's
I'm
right.
like,
Tom's here and he still calls Anna, so you know. We all struggle. Keep going. Oh, I'm getting a look from Tom now. Sorry, Tom. It's all good. It's all fun
I
and
love
games.
it. I love it.
This episode is made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. And you know, at Restaurant Unstoppable, we are huge fans of Restaurant Systems Pro. So much that we are partnering with Restaurant Systems Pro, and they are going live every other week, twice a month. They are going live in Restaurant Unstoppable Network. Fred Langley, the CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, we will have access to him, and he will go through your P&L. You do not have to be a Restaurant Systems Pro client to take advantage of this. He will literally tear apart your P&L, and he will help you find the gaps so you can increase your profit by 5% or more. He is literally saving people's restaurants in Restaurant Unstoppable Network. If you want to take advantage of not just Restaurant Systems Pro, their budgeting, their costing, their inventory, their labor management, their training, their general ledger, all tied to your POS, this amount of data is insanely ridiculous. Beyond that, he's making himself available to coach you. This is all happening at restaurantunstoppable.com/live. We'll see you there.
And I would put that in there. And I had put in my job post, you can work anytime you want. If you want to work my overnight, so their daytime, that's fine by me. I would make videos for them being like, here are my design inspirations. Here's what I'm thinking. Can you put this, but do it for me? And they would be like, sure. And then they would knock out some killer graphic work for me. And then I'll just give them feedback, and we kind of got the process dialed in.
I mean, can you go a little bit deeper into how to prioritize tasks? Like, is there a system, a school of thought, a way to create lists and to delegate? Like, get into that a little bit more, just in case people might be lacking knowledge in that front.
Yeah, it's really up to you. So for me, like one thing we have is every Monday we run payroll, right? Like that's a non-negotiable. If you log in on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, the first thing you need to do is do payroll. I don't care if there's a marketing deadline that's happening, like you've got to run payroll so the team can get paid on Friday. So that's a priority, and that's basically mandatory. Like it doesn't matter what happens, like we got to get that done. Marketing plans, sometimes it's, me having a crazy idea and they're like, Rashmi, this is a cool idea, but like we don't have time to implement it yet. But it's, it's September, it's Labor Day weekend. Our graphics should have been out 2 weeks. Currently, we're working on Halloween stuff, right? So they know that there's a 2 week deadline to get all of the Halloween marketing material, email marketing, any social media campaigns we're going to run, any videos I need to shoot here for them to edit. They know all of that's on the plan. But if it's Monday at 9 o'clock, they know, hey, I have got to run payroll for the restaurant and run it by Rashmi to make sure it looks good.
Got it. And I realize I'm getting ahead of ourselves, so I apologize. I'm just so curious. Questions come into my head and I want to start asking. So $100 a month was your starting budget. Where are you at now? I'm just curious.
Yeah, now I have mostly everybody on full time. I just couldn't do part time anymore. And again, like as you grow, your businesses grow, you realize, hey, I wouldn't do that overnight shift anymore. I need somebody in the US time zone.
Okay.
And so I just started putting that in my job posts.
Got it. So you said that you were paying anywhere from like $7,000 to $8,000 a month full time VA help. Did I hear that?
100, not 1,000, 100.
800, 700,
Yeah.
800 a month. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And how many total VAs do you have?
Across our entire portfolio?
Yeah.
Probably like 15.
Okay. Wow. So you mentioned how to pay. Should we save that for later?
Yeah, happy to.
Okay. I'm saying, like, does it make sense to pull that to the surface now, or do you want to shelf that for later in the conversation?
Either way, I mean, it's really simple. We use something called wise.com for the Philippines.
Okay.
It's really easy. You go in there, you set it up, you set up your business bank account, and then they do all the conversions. I just set it up on weekly auto pay at this point. Again, my team's a little bit more dialed in. When you're new, make sure they do the work, then you pay them.
Got it. And is that wise.com?
Yeah.
And what exactly is that? Is that just a way to dive deeper into what that
Yeah, it's just a payment software. And
Got it.
so it converts from US dollars into Filipino pesos, I think is what they have.
Got it.
Some people prefer to be paid in US dollars, so it helps you keep it in US dollars. And they can get it paid into their bank account, or they can get it paid into their Wise account.
Got it.
So think of it, it's similar to kind of PayPal, but without like PayPal. I don't know if PayPal has conversion or not, but Wise definitely has the conversion feature. And it's the most sort of trusted payment method that's out there for VAs. There's a couple of other ones people use, like Remitly. There's a bunch of others. I've always just used Wise. I don't overthink it.
And do you use Wise for the Latin American outsourced workers too?
So I'm glad Anna's here. I actually don't have Latin American team members on my team, but I've referred Anna to a couple,
Yes.
and I'd love for her to join. kind of time of year.
Anna did join the conversation. So Anna is, well, I mean, I was aware of Rashmi before Anna said, you need to talk to Rashmi because she's a boss. So Anna has stepped up her VA game in the time that I've introduced the two of you. So Anna, the context is out there. Now tell us, what are you looking into and how to pay your Latin American VAs?
So we use Wise as well. Honestly, it's the easiest way. I think there's like several different version or things that you could do. I'm trying to pull up the latest contract that I signed actually, so I could tell you because there's like three that were mentioned. Let's see here. It says So Payoneer, Deal, Binance, or AirTM are the four preferred ones for Latin America. You can use Wise too, but like those are the other four that they prefer. And we did hire virtual assistants from the Philippines at first. Didn't have the best experience. Rashmi is like, she found all the good ones.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Like all of them.
She's not sharing.
All of them. You've got a lot. So, And then we now have two virtual assistants, one in Peru and one in Bolivia.
Yeah. And we're going to get into the Philippine versus Latin American VAs and what to consider and compare and contrast. Before we move to that core focus, that second core focus, back to this idea of, why VAs are changing the restaurant world. And, I would think that most people that are hearing this their first instinct might be like, oh, that's probably for bigger organizations that have a bunch of other things. But I would say it's more significant for smaller operators right now because of all the additional things we have to be responsible for that are all digital facing. That is just like overwhelming at the end of the day. Like you are in person or like operation. If you're a restaurant owner, first and foremost, the most impactful social platform is your dining room floor. The relationships with the people that are closest to you. I would say like this is like the primarily like for small independent operators you can get access to the help you need. So get more into like the type of work beyond marketing. I'm thinking like accounting and stuff like this and just data entry and like if you're using an enterprise solution, but I'm not here to talk. You're here to talk. Rashmi, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, so we use Square POS for our restaurant. And so my bookkeeping VA, again, she's out in the Philippines. She, pulls daily transactions from Square, puts it into QuickBooks, does all of the back end work. I get weekly reports the way I like them for my restaurant. And then I get monthly reports. And then we also run a wholesale company. So there's like a bunch of things that are happening. She does all of that. And then if I have any questions, I'm like, hey, what about this? What was my prime cost? Why did this go up? She'll go deep dive. She'll log into, usfood.com and she'll be like, hey, your butter price went up from this to this. Like, could I go do all of that? Yeah. But like, is it worth my time to like go in there? And then I get so annoyed. I should probably not say this on a podcast, but I get so annoyed when like DoorDash is like, what problem do you have? I'm like, I don't know. Nothing's working. Like, I don't know. Help me. But my VA has now a phone line. So she's an authorized user on my DoorDash account. So she'll call and be like, Rashmi, let me talk to the manager. We'll figure this out. You don't need to get involved in our DoorDash situation. The team will dial this in. And I'm like, great. Because if I get on a call with them, I will scream at them.
So these aren't just VAs. They're VE.
All of it, yeah.
They're virtual executive assistants, right. And it's not just like having them like create assets for you for social media, but like you are delegating manager level, mid-level management tasks that come with close to 6-figure salaries in today's age.
Correct. And I want my on-site to just do on-site stuff. Like I want them to focus on the guest. Don't worry that DoorDash is freaking out about this. Like let the virtual team handle this.
Got it.
Don't worry about payroll. We'll figure that out.
Yeah. So anything worth mentioning before we move on to the second bullet you have here for us, focusing on the Philippines versus Latin America?
Anna, anything you want to add? I'd love to hear a little bit about your experience, kind of like how I tell everybody about VAs and you're like one of the first people that like took action. You're like, I love it. Let's do this.
Well, as soon as Rashmi like told me like, you can get additional support through VAs. I was like, okay, introduce me to your people. And she did. And like, it's been really, really good, knock wood so far. We've been working with a virtual assistant in Peru, although she's in Italy right now. She's like in Italy long-term, which is like wonderful. I love the idea of employing people so they can work wherever they want to work, which is amazing. It leads to really happy people, working virtually, because sometimes it can get a little lonely, but they're over there working virtually for Italy for a bakery. It's not bad. So she does a lot for us. She does all of our social media management, which is really helpful. I will say it's there's a big learning curve, right? There is a bit of a learning curve when it comes to that. And I have you talked about training yet, Rashmi?
No,
Because okay, I'll hold off on that.
that's the number 4. So we will be
Okay,
talking
I'll hold
about
off. But I mean, I've been really happy. I mean, she's doing that. She does a lot of our SOPs, which I'll talk about how that works in a little bit. Um, and then I just hired because I started my own marketing agency of which Tom is a client. And because he was making me so busy, I was like, okay, I need some help. I know you are. So I actually just hired someone else who he is a chief marketing officer down in Bolivia. And he and I just gelled immediately. And we were like, I was like, I need help with this and this and this. And he was like, okay, great, let's do it. Let's do it. So he comes on board, not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. And so I'm stoked.
Yeah,
Stoked for him to help.
this is one of the things I love about the world we live in now is the democratization and decentralization of knowledge and learning. And no matter where you are in the world, you don't have to go to America to get like the best education like you did 50 years ago. You know, like you can literally go anywhere and be anywhere and have access to the same knowledge that everyone has access to. And I think this is transformative. Like we live in a special time. It's exciting.
For sure.
So, okay, let's move to core focus number 2, where to hire, the Philippines versus Latin America.
Yeah, I can take that first. So I started out in the Philippines. Latin America wasn't really on my radar when I got started like 4 years ago doing this. And I've built an entire team in the Philippines. We recruit internally now, so like we don't really do any job posts and stuff just because my team is big enough. But one of the things I started noticing was I think the Philippines just started getting bigger and bigger. So more people got into this, they weren't trained for it. And then the other thing I get usually hit with is like the time zone difference, like we're the opposite of the Philippines on time zone. If you don't hire the best on, sometimes there's a little bit of a language barrier. So I met a friend who introduced me to Latin American work pool, which is who I referred Anna to. And I'm happy to share that contact with anyone in this group. Absolutely love. Her name's Alex with Purple. She's amazing. And I think there's a bunch of key differences. One is culture. I think Latin America picks up our culture a lot quicker than maybe the Philippines
It is
does.
Western culture, you know, we
Correct,
share
yeah.
that. Yeah.
They're in the same time zone as us. Their English is great. In our business, where some people like we have housekeepers that don't speak any English at our hotels, and so having somebody in Latin America who's able to speak in Spanish, understand even with guests, like there's, I think, a language proponent that makes it really comfortable here. For me, the Philippines has been great. Like I'm not gonna lie, and we continue to grow there. We continue to hire out of the Philippines, and they have their own internal language that they're able to communicate with. And they've been like, Rashmi, you can bring somebody outside, but like we have a really cool culture here, and so we would like for you to keep recruiting from here. And I was like, that's pretty fair. Like I like it.
Got it. In terms of time zone, Latin America, the majority of Latin America falls in Eastern and Central time. Is that correct?
Correct.
And some mountain time as well.
Some mountain time. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Central, right? Or Central America.
I think it's like an hour. Yeah, it's like an hour
An
difference.
hour behind me, Central Time. Yeah.
Mountain time is Central American time, is what I was trying to say before. I got a
Yes.
little word fumble there. So time zones we covered, customer facing support, cultural alignment. Anything else? Anna, did anything come to your mind that Rashmi missed?
I can't overemphasize the cultural alignment more. I think that the issue I had when I first started with virtual assistants, I was hiring from the Philippines and I was not able to communicate effectively with them on what I needed. And I think it's because there's just so much unsaid in the hospitality industry. And Rashmi is really good at explaining exactly what she means and exactly what she wants. And I don't have as much patience for that because I'm just like, you either get it or you don't, and I'm moving on. And she's a better person than I am. And so we've had
What was the opening quote, Rashmi?
Hey, there we go.
person than I am.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Sorry.
Exactly. But but we've had really good luck. We worked with Alex from Purple to find these lettuce to people. And it was really great. And I feel like because a lot of these folks that we're working with, they were educated in America or they spent time in America working for American agencies, did a stage in America and then went back to their home country of Bolivia. Like that has really made it a lot easier because they've spent time here. They understand our customs and our culture a little bit more which is really great. But I also think it's really important to also observe their customs and culture as well. And so I was educated by Alex on certain holidays that are really important to Bolivian culture, and making sure that like they have those days off, and that time off is really important. It turns out in Bolivia, like they make just as big of a deal about birthdays as we do in America. And so that was really helpful because my bakery focuses a lot on birthday cakes and wedding cakes. And so it was nice to have that cultural connection too.
Are you
And I
shipping
think that's
birthday
really
cakes to your
important, is
team?
like to make sure you understand your employees, not them just understanding you.
Are you going to pull a P. Terry's and ship birthday cakes to all of your employees?
Well,
It would be hard. Logistically,
that would be hard. It's butter. It melts.
Cool.
The
So
other thing, can
go
I just
ahead.
add one more thing? If it's your first time hiring a VA, having somebody like Alex on the back end is a huge help. And I'm sure you went through this. I went through those. Onlinejobs.ph is amazing, but like there's an entire process because you have to, have your job post. Then like Alex helps you dial in your job post. She was like, Rashmi, this is unclear, or you can do this better. She'll help filter out applicants for you, so you're only seeing like the top three, and then you can pick the top one that you like. There's like, I think, 3 months additional support with Alex, where you can be like, oh, this is not working out, or maybe I'm doing something wrong. Like there's a lot more back end hand-holding training, and like none of that was available when like I got started like 4 or 5 years ago.
Got it.
So again, going back to Latin America versus Philippines, like working with an agency does help initially, and then you can start working on your own.
Got it. What about siestas? Is that a thing that you guys have to consider?
Not for me. I'm a workhorse. Like everyone better
Well,
work.
I mean, let's be honest. Like in Central America, so like when you're on the equator, like it's hard to exist, like without having to get away from. I mean, I guess we're getting really pretty good at air conditioning, so that's probably not as much of an issue today. But I don't know.
No, Eric, I don't have to worry about
I'm from New
siestas.
Hampshire. Give me a break. I don't know what's going on down there closer to the equator.
We have had initially when I hired first VAs, people like falling asleep on shifts. Like, I mean, we've gone through all of it. It's gotten more dialed in.
I'm all for siestas for the record. I support it. So, all right. I think we unpackaged core focus number 2, where to hire the Philippines versus Latin America. We talked about how to pay these folks. So moving on to core focus number 3, what VAs can do for your restaurant. We kind of started to get into this and I backpedaled out of it, but go all in.
Yeah, I think anything you can do on a computer that can be taught to somebody else, a VA can pretty much handle, as long as they have the login access and they know what to do. So the first thing is, I always say, delegate out very easy tasks that you can make very easy videos for. So Canva is a very great example. There's really not much they can mess up in my Canva account. I can just go delete whatever it is they messed up. But you kind of get to see, like, are they creative? Are they designing what you want? Are you communicating effectively? Do not give them general, vague, big idea, visionary tasks, because that's hard for anyone to really execute on.
Right.
So go very baby steps. And of course, don't give access to everything right off the go. Canva, like, doesn't really have my credit card. Like, they can't really do much with little tools like that.
Right.
And then,
Just like hiring somebody off the street, like you're not going to have them run the line on day one. You're going to have them put the cheese on the burger and then slide it down, and like as they learn and develop new skills, you can add more on.
or you're probably not going to scream at them because your ops budget went through the roof, because they're going to be like, what are you talking about? They're going to have like no idea. And then the VAs are going to feel terrible, right? They're like, this person's so mean, I have no idea what's happening, but they'll stick with you because they want the job. And you're like, this is an unhealthy work culture. Like, let's go baby step and let's build you up to do bigger things.
Got it. So, easy task. Can you share some tools you're using to create these videos? I mean, I'm thinking one, just using your phone, right? If you're doing that's like in person. I know there's apps you can use to do screen capture and stuff like that. Which ones do you prefer?
Yeah, I use Loom. I used to have the free account and like maxed it out to the T, really. I ended up having to go paid because I make so many Looms. And then I always recommend on the back end having a project management software. Everyone hates me for saying that, but it really helps you dial in, especially like as you scale your companies. So
you said Asana for that?
Yeah, we use Monday for our our properties and our hotels, and then we use Asana for all of the restaurant stuff, social media. And we have different boards.
Anything to consider? So Monday for restaurants, Asana for the property management.
The other way around.
Oh, the other way around.
Yeah.
Why that switch? Or did you just start with one and you want to try another one out? Or do you prefer one over the other? Would you go all in on one if you had prior information?
So I am a big believer in writing on what it is you want every year. Like, I'm big on goal setting. And so I realized one of the things I didn't want to do was be in Asana or Monday babysitting. So I asked my VA, I'm like, what software do you like? And they're like, we love Asana. And I was like, we'll go with Asana. I
Now
asked
you don't have
my
to train them on how to use it.
exactly, because
Yeah.
I'm like, you picked it, like you figure it
Now,
out.
teach me how
And
to use
not
it. Yeah.
that, but also like I don't want to be in there micromanaging. I personally, I'm still not a fan of Monday, and I've used it for like 3 years now. But my team loves it, and they're like, hey, we want to be in here, and we'll do everything. And we use Slack for internal team communication, and I get all my updates on Slack. I don't really have to do much on Monday, and I'm like, this is great. Like in my life, I'm trying to do less so I can have more time to do the things I want, and so this works out great for me.
Love
I
it.
know you were like, when I said Monday, you were
Yeah,
like, absolutely not.
I hate Monday. We're
Yeah.
Trello people. I love
Everyone
Trello.
hates Mondays. Ugh, Friday's where it's at.
Oh my
Sorry, I
God.
had to.
Yeah, someone should come up with a project management tool called Friday and solve all of Monday's issues. That would be fantastic.
It wouldn't be a
We
very productive app. I mean, it would be kind of a
Yeah,
half-ass app, but it would be a lot of fun to use. The user
it
experience
would
would be
be.
great.
It's just memes. Just memes. So I wanted to share a little bit about what we use the virtual assistants for too. We after Rashmi told me, see, like I said, she told me everything. We do a lot of videos. I do videos just on my phone, frankly. So I walk around, like we just opened the trailer for the bakery, so another location for the bakery last weekend. And I walked
Congrats.
around after the third day when I figured out the closing procedures. I just walked around and videoed like do this, do this, do this, do this, and then sent that off to our virtual assistant and say, write me an SOP that I can post on the inside door of the trailer for exactly like what to do to close down. Because I don't think about like if I had to sit and think about it, I don't know. But if I'm in the moment and I'm just taking a video of what I'm doing, walking around, like that's super easy.
Yeah, and in full transparency, if you don't mind me sharing this, and you purchased a organized Sweet Treats is your bakery. It was well established and you purchased it, so you didn't have like the boots on the ground developing, building this thing over time where you know every intricate part of it. So you weren't as close to it as say somebody who literally birthed it, so like
Right.
being able to delegate that is probably easier.
Yeah, I am a stepmom in more ways than one. Yes, that is absolutely true. And but it's helped me a lot when it comes to like learning because then I can say, okay, yeah, all right, what does this look like? What have I learned here? And we've also created a lot of efficiencies that way too. Customer service is a big one for us. We are training our first virtual assistant right now on how to quote cakes, which can be a very time consuming thing because unless you know this industry, you really don't know like how to quote them. So we're training her up on how to do that so she can be our customer service person, like the first person to respond. And I think especially when it comes to catering, so like restaurants that do catering, Rashmi, you know this because you have a catering company too. The first person to respond is often the group that gets the business. So like I need her to respond very quickly. Think of it, cakes are just another form of catering, right? So like the first person to respond on catering request is really great. And then what do we do? Oh, I said customer service invoicing. So we do a lot of invoicing as well. Again, cakes, very customer service focused. So processing all of those invoices, copying over all that information, making sure we have the correct name, email address, phone number so that we can set up those marketing campaigns in the future. Like that's a really big thing, but it's very tedious. So we outsource that too.
What up, Unstoppables? This episode is made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. If you are a listener of Restaurant Unstoppable, I know you've heard me mention Restaurant Systems Pro, but just in case you haven't heard of it yet, it is a all-in-one enterprise solution. All the most critical systems that will help you become profitable. I'm talking about costing. I'm talking about inventory management. I'm talking about budgeting. I'm talking about labor management. I'm talking about training. The list goes on, all under one roof, tied to your general ledger, and they have their own POS, and they integrate with nearly every major POS out there. Restaurant Systems Pro is an amazing tool, and this is the thing that gets me really excited. When you join Restaurant Unstoppable Network, you get access to the CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, Fred Langley, twice a week for a P&L Power Hour. He literally will let you open up your P&L, share it on the screen, and he will help you close the gaps and increase your profitability. You do not have to be a Restaurant Systems Pro user to benefit from these live events. He doesn't care. We're just here to help you. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP to get the full playlist of every Restaurant Systems Pro episode, a link to all the testimonials. And if we haven't sold you on Restaurant Systems Pro by then, I don't know what else to do. But if you really want to up your Restaurant Systems Pro experience, be sure to join Restaurant Unstoppable Network too. All right, guys, one more time, head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP. Yeah. What's going through my mind right now, is there a Latin American or Filipino VA organization that has specialists who understand the world of restaurants? Because if somebody were to build that, if anybody's listening, I don't have the bandwidth. Yeah. Like that would be amazing because of the uniqueness of the restaurant industry and the software associated with the restaurant industry. If you become experts, like everyone knows how to use Canva, but like how many people know how to use an enterprise solution or Toast or like,
yeah. That would be great. Tom, tell Henry, let's make that company.
That's fewer distractions over there. Okay. What next? So many things on package. We talked about payroll, bookkeeping, scheduling, vendor coordination, HR admin. Anything we did not touch on that's worth bringing to the surface before we go to the fourth and final.
So one thing my VA does, and I'm happy to share this, is anytime we have a new hire, they'll send out all the new hire paperwork, but then they'll also send out all the training manuals, make sure they get signed. They'll make sure TABC certifications uploaded. They also have expiry dates for them. So we know 2 months before, is their TABC expiring? Is their food certificate expiring? We'll follow up on it. Come tax season in January 1st, people are like, I can't find my W-2, 1099, whatever form. Like I used to get all these emails with people I haven't seen in 8 months, and I'm like, oh, you're alive, good to see you. But my VA will go through, find their paperwork, get it mailed, email it to them. So all these little tasks that just kind of add up. Inbox, my VA of course goes through, responds to every guest review that we get. It gets sent to our team members on site. We also do the invoicing. We also do even customer relation, like for our wholesale business. They process all of our from initial to the end, like they handle all of it. And then they coordinate with on-site staff for like whatever is needed. But really anything you do on a computer that can be taught, like they're very good and they can probably take on. And now it's gone to the point where they're giving us feedback. They're like, Rashmi, your menu doesn't quite read well. Do you mind if I redo it? And I'm like, please, because I haven't updated in 5 years. Like, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about like Restaurant Systems Pro right now, which is the platform I'm most familiar with because of my partnership with Fred Langley and Restaurant Systems Pro. Like purchasing, budgeting, costing, inventory, like all these things that like are now, those things weren't always digital, but now they are all moved to a digital place. You can't manually do the inventory, but you can, to your point, you can keep your finger on the data and you can know when things are out of whack and you can highlight, like, and bring attention to things that are important. Especially with HR tools like Gusto, like it's more and more possible today than ever before. And it's only moving more in that direction. So far
the only thing I'll add to that is don't confuse your VA, because I see a lot of people hire a marketing VA and then give them accounting tasks.
Right.
And it's like, they're not going to be good at it. Like, and they might do an okay job because they're like trying to please you and make you happy, but like hire people who are specialized in what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Great advice. Anna, any last thoughts before we move on to the fourth and final bullet here?
No, that's good roundup.
So we have covered why VAs are changing the restaurant world. We talked about where to get your VA from, pros and cons versus the Philippines and Filipinos and Latin America. I said it right the first time. Philippines and Latin America. What VAs can do for your restaurant. We're going to wrap it up with how to hire, train, and keep them long term. I think we kind of already touched on some of these subjects too, but what hasn't been mentioned?
Yeah, team culture has been big for me this year. I've kind of coming on like the 4 year of having VAs, and like we're in growth mode, and we're always in growth mode. And I think building a team culture. So one very small change that we made. So we use Slack for internal team communication. We used to be on WhatsApp, and things just got messy in WhatsApp. And our Slack's connected to our Monday board. So again, we're like pushing stuff into Monday. But on our Slack channel, we created, it's called Random Spaces. And the team just drops funny memes, things that are happening in their life. Their daughter had a birthday party, like whatever that is. And like having the fun team culture moments, because all I ever deal with is like all the problems that are happening in any business. And I'm like, let's fix this. We don't really celebrate all the joy and the good times and like being involved in their personal life. We also have implemented a skip level meeting. So every 6 months, I get on a call with all of our team members. And I'm just like, how are things going? This is not a performance review. I just want to get to know you as a person. What are your goals?
How often do you do that? Once a month?
No, once every 6 months. So twice a year.
Got it. So it's like a virtual party of like, let's just communicate.
Yeah. And I just want to be honest, like, what are you working on? What are your goals? With team members who, we have a Monday, it's called a dream board. And they just put like things that like, a lot of them wanted to buy houses. They wanted to go to Disneyland. They like to do a retreat every quarter. And so they put these tasks on there. And then I'm like, okay, well, how can we work towards your dreams and your goals? And how can I help?
Got
And
it.
so, and then we talked about that.
Beautiful. So you have some steps here. Like step one for hiring. What is step one?
Have a very clear job description, like what it is that you need done and what's your budget.
And you're posting this job
ChatGPT.
description to where?
Yeah, so you can post it to onlinejobs.ph. That's how I started. You can post it to Fiverr. You can post it to Upwork. Like if you're looking for more fractional, those three are great. If you're looking for more full-time help, and people underestimate, like more people need full-time help than they realize. I always push for full-time help because if you hire part-time, they're going to have other jobs they're going to do. So just kind of be aware of that.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for full-time, onlinejobs.ph is great, or I'm happy to drop Alex's contact information in here.
Yeah, and you do have an affiliate link for onlinejobs.ph. So if you are interested, please help Rashmi out. Head over to the show notes, click that sucker, and say thank you for all this amazing advice and recommendations. So so once you go over here, you create the job post. This would be really cool. I'm putting you on the spot now. Like if you have any assets that you're willing to share in terms of like templates and what you've created to kind of get people going to prime that engine. Now I feel like I'm giving you homework and I feel like a jerk for even asking. I should have probably thought this one out, but if you're willing.
Absolutely. I'm happy to give you guys like the first job post I made. And one thing I snuck in there was like midway through, I was like, if you're interested in applying for this job, like put the subject line of like Houston's baseball team. So like they have to go do research and I know who's paying attention and actually reading this versus mass applying to things.
Got it.
And so start getting crafty about like how you do these things because if not, you'll be in your email inbox the whole day.
I love that.
Kind of going through it. So kind of pre-vetting people. And so anyone who didn't follow that, I was like automatically delete.
Got it. We talked about building culture and anything that you're doing in terms of how to build culture, or Rashmi, did you not get anything out yet?
No, honestly, like it is, this sounds terrible, but like we are so much in the part of just like doing that like I haven't had time really to think about how do we build that culture with RVA. And then I really need to think about it because I'm bringing on someone who's much more at my level, and how to do that. So I don't really know. Maybe it'll be like Rashmi said, like have people contribute to a dream board or tell me a little bit more about yourself or something like that. But honestly, like right now it's just about doing,
Yeah. No, like anything, like just start with something and it's Kaizen, constant never ending improvement. Tweak it. Let them make it better. Listen to their feedback and how they think it could be better.
And I have a little link that everyone that joins our team has to fill out. My EA helped build it. But it's got like their name, their favorite animal, when is their birthday, when is their wedding anniversary, like any dates, do you like coffee or tea? And then it automatically gets put on my calendar by my EA once they fill it out. And so I know everyone's work anniversary, any important dates they want me to remember. And then I make a point to shout out when I'm like, hey. So very simple. I don't really deal with it until I see it on my calendar. But like the back end has helped. I think it just shows people we care.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I'll definitely do that.
Got it. So I think we've gotten to the point of the conversation where we can open this up for Q&A. Before we do that, real quick, tell us one more time, how do we connect, Rashmi?
So I hang out on Toasty Indian. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, whatever you guys want. I'm around.
Anna, do you want to share your contact information too in case folks want to tap into that knowledge resource?
Sure. So you can find me at anna@goodkindconsulting.com. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me right now.
Okay. And this is episode 1220, I believe. So if you head over to the show notes, look it up. If you can't remember the episode title, just remember that number 1220. We'll have a summary as well as links to connect with these ladies. And I'm actually going to ask a question before we wrap it up and bring it to our community for Q&A. One thing I'm really interested in, and this is kind of like on a more like ethics based, like if you asked 15 year ago, Eric, like, should you use VAs? Part of me would be like, well, what about keeping your money in your community? Like, what about like, how is this any different from like outsourcing to like, different farms or different purveyors, or like, why don't we want to keep our money close? What is the counter argument to that?
I think this is how you keep your money close. This is how we pay our team better in a market where the food costs are rising. tariffs are on the rise, labor is expensive. And if you want to be top of the market for good labor, you better figure out some way to save money because it's not like your landlord's going to go, oh, like your taxes went up. No, I'm not going to increase your rent. Your triple net's going to go up. Like everything goes up every single year. So the other part of it is we keep our community well, but also how do we be the change we want to be in this world? It's not just my community, how to
Yeah.
make a difference. So even in the Philippines, like, yeah, we started at $700, $800. We're now over $1,000 for most of our team members. They don't make that kind of money in their communities. So I've helped people buy homes for them that's beyond their pay. I've helped them put their kids in better schools. We've helped make their dreams come true. So doing that on a broader level as well as a local level. I think there's two parts that we play. And sometimes all we think about is this community, which this is how we help our community. I'm like, hey, I have a little cost savings. Now we can do cooler stuff for our team members, our restaurant, and our community. But now we're also paying on a bigger scale. Like, how can we help connect the world?
Yeah. Anna, do you want to add anything to that?
I mean, that was perfectly said, Rashmi. That's exactly the way we see it too. I mean, I honestly had like a really hard time with it at first because I was like, oh, I don't know. I feel like I should hire someone else and like give them a chance straight out of college to like learn stuff and move on. But frankly, there's no way we could afford it. There's no way we could do it. Like unless I was getting paid to host an intern, nope. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. And so and I do really see ourselves as part of a global community. It's not just right here in our backyard. I mean, I have marketing clients right in Boston, Tom, the best, and then Nashville, second best, and then tell Sean. And and we're already doing things globally. We're already doing things around the world. So why can't we have other people from around the world help us do that as well? I think it just makes sense. It's part
a
of our
global
ecosystem.
economy on a small scale,
Exactly.
And part of the thoughts that were going through my head, I feel like over the past 10 years, we've really lost ourselves to this digital presence. We didn't get into the restaurant industry to sit on a computer all day. Like generally we don't gravitate towards that world. We gravitate towards human connectivity. And the more of this we can get off our plate so we can have FaceTime with the most important people, our frontline staff, the people who are literally in our four walls every day. Not to say that VAs aren't important, they're people too, but like we need to have like that impact on the people who live in our neighborhoods and who live in our community. And we can have a better impact when we can give FaceTime to these individuals and listen to them and empower them and lift them up. And the best way to do that is in person. So now we have all this extra bandwidth to be present. And I think that we got very unpresent for a long time. The other thought too, like back to this idea of like globalization, 150 years ago, I live in New Hampshire. It would take me a day to get to Boston. That's 60 miles, It takes that same amount of time to get to the other side of the planet where you're getting these people to, and we live the idea of nationalism. This might raise some alarms. I think is very antiquated, like we live in a global world, whether you want to accept it or not. And I think that when you get out of this country, if you travel, if you get to go to other places and you see the inequity and the despair in different places, I think that if we are truly trying to live a democratic world and be the example, it's about sharing. It's about creating opportunity for others, for not just those closest to us, but for everyone. And I think that this is a vehicle, a growth tool to do that. Any thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, I mean, I think the restaurant industry is just now catching up to VAs. Techs found this, decades ago, and now they're all on the AI craze. And I think we'll probably be there in like another 5 years. I don't think the AI is there yet, but now with AI, like everybody's on their toes, right? Like whether it's local, global, whatever you want to call it. So what is AI going to do to kind of all of this is kind of where my mind goes, right?
Yeah, and I think it's a good advocate for capitalism. A lot of people are anti-capitalism. I think I'm anti-consumerism, if I'm being honest sometimes, but I think conscious capitalism and being able to let all ships rise with the ship and do good, like this is an avocation for that. So I think those were my big, actually one more question. What about mental health? So I think that we are literally engineered over thousands of years of evolution, hundreds of thousands of years of evolution to be in the same space as people. I think we need it as human beings. Like, do you weigh that at all?
Yeah, that's actually one of the main reasons I've stayed and continued hiring in the Philippines as opposed to moving to Latin America. And so my team and my lead is just really good about this. She organizes like a quarterly retreat. And again, like I love people. I also don't need to see them every single day for now. I think a lot of people go to their office, they'll sit in their cubicle and then just be like heads down and not actually interact with anyone, right? So they could really work from home. So putting that time and effort to build a global company, but also being having the space for these team members to have their own time. And we do FaceTimes, we're pretty connected, honestly. But also like letting them have those interactive in-person moments. 3-4 of my team members kind of live close to each other, and others are kind of spread out throughout the Philippines. So the 3 to 4 that are pretty close, they meet like once a week, and they actually don't even talk about work, which I'm glad. They're having fun. They got to new restaurants, and they'll drop me like their restaurant review and stuff. So really building that. And then even I think going in daily, right? Like and with COVID, that's really helped. I think the tech tools have gone a lot better now than they were like even back then. But even when you meet people in person, even here, sometimes they may not be fully present, right? So how do you help them through that mental health? And this is going to sound really interesting, but mental health is for me sometimes such an American concept. Like I'm an immigrant, I'm Indian. We don't grow up talking about mental health, and then that's a whole thing about there. Like I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it's a thing. But
I think it's a new thing in America too. I think this is an emerging thing.
But a lot of times in the Philippines, like these guys are like, Rashmi, like I'm just so grateful I get a paycheck. Like that's not a commodity I have in my country, and I'm willing to work. And like I come from India, like I understand that, and so to be able to help people like that while paying people here, like we have a job post out right now, and I'm like, I'd love to have somebody who just loves to work and wants to show up and do this, and we pay well, and we're doing all the right things, and I want to worry about your mental health, but like at the end of the day, like I'll seem to worry about my mental health, and like I got bills to pay, man. Like my triple N doesn't get any cheaper every month,
You're I'm tempted to go down some rabbit holes right now.
Do not.
I'm gonna
do not. You just drop some breadcrumbs, Rashmi. You're trying to get
restraint.
Eric to go down.
Restraint.
Do it.
Great points, Rashmi. And I think we can remind the folks at home. Unless Anna, did you have anything you want to say?
No, I mean, I do it. Whenever I talk to the VAs, like I check in, like, how are you doing? They're like, great. They would like to move on, and I would like to move on, frankly, because I don't really want to know.
So hit us one more time with your contact information for the folks if they want to follow up with you.
Sure. So I'm Anna at goodkindconsulting.com.
Rashmi?
Toasty Indian. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. And, whichever. LinkedIn, even though I don't really like LinkedIn, but you can find me there.
You listen to the show, so I can't say goodbye without having you call somebody out. Who is somebody that you just are like, I just want to learn more. I want to hear this person's story. I want to get into their head. Who is that for you? Who can I go get on the show for you?
I've mentioned her before, so I'm going to mention her again. Alexandra Lourdes. Anna's got a connection, so I'm really going to call it out. I'd love to hear her in our podcast.
Looks like I'm going back to Las Vegas.
You should go back to Las Vegas. She's amazing. Her husband's amazing. I know her husband, Michael. He's fantastic too. They run and operate restaurants in Las Vegas, and they're wonderful.
I'd love to make that happen. And now is where I say thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your perspective, your insights, all of it. There is no questioning, Rashmi and Anna. You two are unstoppable.